Hey everybody, how you doing? This is your boy 1JGW, and I'm here in Marina del Rey, California. As you can see, looks like there's some water out there, and we're going to launch a boat today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the steps that I do personally to get a boat ready, get it prepped, and on the water. This here is our Bayliner 265. It's a 2006 version, and it's ready for the water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just give you my tips on kind of the easiest, most effective way to get yourself on the water and not jumping in and out of the boat. That's going to be the first thing I'm going to tell you, is try to set yourself up for success. So what I mean by that is, when you're at home, when you're loading everything up, anything you can put into the boat, into the vessel before your journey, then I would just recommend doing it, so you don't have to spend a lot of time loading and unloading when you get here. So I've done that already. I just had a few jackets and my teacup, a couple things to put in there, but we're ready to go. So I'm going to do my straps first. I'm going to undo them. So get down here and just going to pull these straps off. And that's one, and got the other here. All right, so let's count and see how many times I get in and out of this boat today. So I am going to climb up here. My plug is in here, so I'm going to grab my plug, and I'm going to grab a crescent wrench. So here's my plug, got my crescent wrench, and my battery is already on. I'm going to put it on all before I start it, but right now it's on one because it's running my refrigerator. So I'm actually going to do a test and see how long the battery will last with the refrigerator. It's been going for a couple of hours now. One thing I do try to remember is I take the straps and I put them back in with the boat, because if I put them in the truck, now it's separated. So I always try and keep it here in the vessel, so that way if something happens to your truck, you don't have to go looking for things later. So I'm going to take the key, put the key in, that way we'll be ready to go. Okay, all right, sounds good, but that's just a buzzer. Okay, so like I said, everything else is ready to go. I will do this to keep myself from going in and out. I'm going to go ahead and grab my buoys, and or fenders as we call them, and then I'm going to get my bow line and my stern line together. So doing these things beforehand, before you dock, it's always a good idea to have everything ready to go, and before you launch. So that's kind of what I try to keep in mind for myself. So I'm going to go ahead and put our first line one down here. Got to go kind of long because the water line on this boat, believe it or not, isn't very high. So we're going to go ahead and put this on here. I do a double twist. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. Then I do another double, and that is not going anywhere. Okay, and I probably should have used the other one. This is a thicker rope, so sometimes it's a little easier to get through here. So I'll wrap that just for a quick second, get my antenna up and out of the way. Okay, lock that in, and that's about right for that. Do a little double, another double, and then you know you're not going anywhere. And I just put my little extra rope there. All right, so now for my bow line and my stern. I don't quite remember which is my favorite for the bow or the stern, but today it looks like it's going to be the blue will be my bow line. and get it up here. So what I try to do with my vessel is I try to know beforehand which side we're going to launch the boat from, meaning which will be the easiest side for me to gravitate towards when we launch the boat. If it's going to be on the port side, you know, it's going to be on, which way are you going? So I'm just going to put it on the right hand side here, and then I just have to make sure I tell the driver, who is my lovely wife, and she will demonstrate her skill set in backing up. So what I do is I always put the line somewhere where I can grab it, so when I do exit the vessel, it's easily accessible and it's not falling all in the water. So we're going to leave that there, and I should be able to grab it. Okay, and now we'll hook up stern line. Okay, all right, it's gonna go like this here. Gonna make it simple today. All right, and that isn't going anywhere. And I'll just bring it around like that, just for my liking. And again, I launch this boat all the time, so I kind of found spots where I can keep my ropes and everything. This one here stays right in this spot. So we've got our key and ignition, we've got battery power, we've got our two bumpers out, and they're ready to go. So now we're going to put the plug in, and then once we back up, I will put the battery to all. And then what I like to do before I go out on my boat is I always like to inspect the engine, just in case, to see if there's any oil leaks, any fuel leaks or anything like that. And then of course I'll turn on the blower, but I always at least do a visual inspection. So I'll lift up a little bit. Camera might not be able to get everything I see, I'm not sure. This is a 5.7 Merc Cruiser motor, and it's carbureted. It's not fuel injected, but it gets it done. I just see a little residual water in the bilge area from me washing it down early this morning before we got here. Kind of knocked the dust off. Looks good, doesn't smell like fuel. I don't see any oil residue or anything like that. Everything looks good. I'm even inspecting the trim tab motor area where the oil is for that, so it looks good, the fluid for there. So we're gonna go ahead and drop this down. Again, we will turn on the bilge anyway, I mean the blower, so that way we can get some fresh air in there. I actually one summer was out at a lake with my boys and their friend, and as we were water skiing, I was dropping off my son. He was skiing on one ski, and then we slowed the boat down, and then I heard an explosion. There was only one other boat on the lake, so I told my son to run in a direction that we were going, unfortunately, because I had to take off. So we pulled in our ski rope and we got to the other side of the lake, and a boat had caught fire. Well, the guy that was in the boat, the engine stalled, and when it stalled, he kept trying to start it. It was a carbureted motor, got a lot of fuel in there, and then there was a spark, and the engine blew the cover off, blew kids and people in the water. So I ended up rescuing 4 people that day, and we called 911 right away. Fire department came. By the time they came though, the boat was fully engulfed, and it was history.
Man, I think it's a
there was a 10-year-old boy that was on the boat, and he's one that went into the water, one of the ones, and I pulled him out. Part of his face was burned, had burns on his arms. I always keep a lot of water on board, so we doused him with fresh water for as long as we could until the paramedics arrived. And then, funny thing, about 8 months later or so, I was at a restaurant, and this lady comes up to me and says, "Hey, are you the guy with the purple boat?" And she was referring to my Nordic boat. And I said, yes. So she said, "Oh my God, you saved my son's life." And I said, "I don't know who your son is." So she took me over to the table, and there was her now 11-year-old son, all healed up from his burns and looking fabulous. And it was a great reunion, and I enjoyed talking to him for a bit. So just goes to tell you, keep that blower on. You just never know, especially if you stall in the water. Get that blower turned on right away, or lift your engine hatch to check and see what's going on. Well, that's about all the time that we have today, but join us next time as we continue the launching of the Bayliner 265 in Marina del Rey, California. Once we get to the water, we'll show you the tips and tricks that we use to launch our 26.5-foot Bayliner into the marina. Join us next time. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Oh yeah, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and make a comment below. Tell us what you think about the video.